Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today we're sharing the story of, well, what I genuinely think is an overlooked horror masterpiece online. It's a web series called 2 or 30. Now, just to be clear, this isn't quite an ARG, an alternate reality game, though it definitely pulls you into its mystery. And it's not something that needs debunking, it's not dangerous, it's really just pure unsettling art, kind of designed to captivate and, disturb. So think of this deep dive as your compass, really, your starting point for the incredibly confusing nonlinear world of two Arthurs. Yeah. It's this channel that seems utterly fixated on the number 232, for reasons we'll get into.
And what's really compelling is that it's still going, it's still unfolding. Despite how complex it is, how it holds back information, we're going to try and piece together what we know. We'll focus on the patterns, the really unnerving details. It's just a masterclass in controlled dread.
Okay, so where do we even start with something this cryptic? Well, 230 first appeared over a year ago now, back on June 23rd, 2016. And for a long time, it kept this chillingly consistent schedule, like one video uploaded on the 23rd of every single month.
That's dedication.
Right. Until recently, when it surprised everyone with a double feature, 2 videos at once. But that obsession with 232, it's not just a little quirk, it feels foundational. The channel has 16 videos right now, every single one. Exactly 2 minutes and 32 seconds long.
Everyone. Wow.
Yep. Most start with a clock counting up to 2.32. And even the couple that don't start that way, they still end with a clock hitting 2.32 a.m. And then there's usually like a final, often really chilling scene right after.
Yeah, that numerical thing, it's more than just style, isn't it? It feels like a psychological device.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. By constantly hitting you with 2.32, the creator's kind of imprinting that specific time on your mind. It creates this sense of predetermined fate, like something has to happen then.
Exactly.
It builds this sort of cyclical dread, like time itself is part of the threat.
So, structure aside, where do we actually start with the content? The very first video, also called 230, that's definitely the place. When you first see it, it just feels like this bizarre, disjointed nightmare. You get this rapid-fire sequence of images. A clock, naturally. Yeah. Then woods, there's blood on the ground. A man's feet. A bloody burlap sack. Then a reed field. A red cloaked figure pops up a few times. Then another cloaked figure, this one's yellow, walking through the reeds.
Okay.
Someone bleeding in the woods again, but it's shown with this stark red filter. A dirt road, maybe a tunnel, a door just standing there. And there are these blurry figures you can't make out, another blurred red filtered shot of what seems to be a person blinking. It all ends in this vandalized area, maybe under a bridge with a big stone block in the middle.
It's such an unnerving collage. And that first video, it acts less like a normal trailer and more like, a fever dream. It's preloading your mind with all these symbols. Every little thing you just mentioned, even if it's fleeting, it's like a breadcrumb. It sets you up for a certain kind of unsettling experience, Establishes the mystery, foreshadows the horror tropes to come.
But the real genius of 230 starts to show when you see how these fragments, these little pieces, they evolve. Yeah. And that door is a perfect example. The same door from video 1 becomes the absolute focus of video 2, which is just called Door.
Simple title.
Very. And the camera just lingers on it, makes it feel really ominous. And then you see these long, thin fingers, almost like the Babadook's fingers.
Oh, wow.
Reaching over from the other side. There's another quick flash of that tunnel from the first video, too. And here's something really interesting. The uploader in the comments leaves a timestamp for nearly every video.
A timestamp?
Yeah. And it points you right to the final, jump scare or most impactful shot. For Door, it leads you to the split second where an out-of-focus specter just appears right in front of the door.
Huh. Like a hidden clue within the comments.
Exactly. And these elements keep returning. That blurry, blinking image from the first video, it shows up again in the video called Doctor. And Doctor also ends with that same out-of-focus blinking face.
So it's building connections.
Definitely. Then Atrocious focuses back on the woods and that bloody burlap sack, though without the characters we saw before. Then the yellow-cloaked guy comes back in the reed fields. This time he's dragging the sack somewhere. And it ends with this horrible close-up of his face, but it's wrapped in plastic and dripping blood. And the red-cloaked figure. They get their own video next, just heavy, ragged breathing sounds in the forest, and then it shifts to that intense red filter again.
The red filter seems significant.
It really does. Now, if you're trying to follow some kind of narrative path, the video invitation is key. It's roughly the halfway point of the upload so far, and it marks this big shift. Style, content, everything.
A turning point.
Yeah. We get a new character, a faceless man in a suit. A lot of people say he looks like Slenderman. Maybe it's an homage. New setting too. Railroad tracks. First time we see those. And there are these jarring jump cuts. Looks like raw meat being thrown into water, maybe linked to the sack.
Possibly.
Then that door pops up again briefly. Then the suited man. But now there are Roman numerals in front of him. 4, 3, 3, 3.
4, 2, 3, 2. Oh, 232 again, but split differently.
Exactly. And then it gets weirder. There's this sequence of distorted cartoons laid over the suited man. And if you look closely, you can spot hidden messages, like a very special invitation.
So this is where it moves beyond just creepy visuals into something more abstract, more artistic.
Totally.
That use of Roman numerals, the hidden messages, it's not just random. It makes the viewer active. You're not just watching, you're hunting for clues.
You have to participate.
Right, which makes it way more immersive and kind of ramps up the dread because you feel involved.
Then comes H. Maybe the most ambiguous title. In this one, it's like you, the viewer, are in a room staring into a mirror. But the reflection isn't you, it's this horrifying faceless figure.
Oh, okay.
And it's one long shot. At first, you're not sure what you're seeing, but over the full 2 minutes and 32 seconds, the figure slowly turns to face you.
That's unnerving.
It really is. Makes you wonder, is it just a reflection? Or is that mirror like a portal?
That's a great point. Because if you look at the visual language across the series, color is so important, especially red. Remember the red filters in the woods or in Doctor?
Yeah.
Well, here you have a blue room, but a red figure. Red seems to signal danger or distortion, or maybe slipping into that nightmare reality.
Yeah.
And the mirror itself, I mean, classic horror trope, right?
Yeah.
But here it feels like less about looking at yourself and more about a barrier between worlds that might not be stable.
So with all these fragments, these clues, what's the bigger picture? Where do we look for answers? One interesting place is actually hidden in the video source codes, the tags.
Like the metadata?
Exactly. If you dig in, you find this weird mix of English, French, Japanese words sometimes. Things like nightmare, horror, out of the woods, fear, void. And maybe the most interesting one, let us in.
Let us in. Huh.
Yeah. Other tags are like I, the eyes, I can't see my face, lost tapes.
Yeah.
And some are even more direct, like the invitation video tags. They include I will be evil things and atrocious, a direct nod to the other video title.
That let us in phrase really stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What could that mean? Especially considering Door comes right after that first 2:30 video, the trailer. It really strongly suggests a core theme about something outside trying to get in, a different dimension maybe.
A nightmare realm.
Perhaps. Something accessible at 2:32 a.m., maybe when you're dreaming. It reframes that mirror in H, too. Less about vanity, more about a fragile gateway.
Beyond the tags, there are other structural clues, too. We mentioned the timestamps in the comments.
Right, the hidden pointers.
But also, look at the channel's playlists. There are 3. One is just 2 hour 30. Another is titled Mergant 3, but it's Roman numerals, which breaks down to 232 again.
Roll over.
And the newest one, added with the recent videos, is called Encore.
Encore?
Yeah.
Like after the main show.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, right? Could the original 2 hour 30 arc be technically finished? And this is like the after show, or a whole new chapter.
It suggests the performance isn't over.
And speaking of new stuff, that recent double feature Origin and Prelude, that was huge! First time ever they uploaded 2 videos instead of 1.
Big change in pattern.
And the titles, Origin, Prelude. They scream prequel or origin story, right? Maybe finally starting to tie up loose ends after, what, over a year of these uploads?
Okay.
And here's a really interesting thought. Origin and Prelude might finally show us who or what is behind that bloody burlap sack we keep seeing.
Ah, that would be a major reveal for longtime watchers. You know, this also highlights the musicality woven through the whole series. So many video titles are musical terms. Overture, interlude, prelude.
Right.
And that eerie music, often old-timey sounding, it's always there.
Yeah.
Always unsettling. It feels like another layer, like the creator is conducting this whole non-linear narrative. It makes the horror feel performed, orchestrated.
In keeping with music, Overture is one of the 2 videos that doesn't start with the clock. Instead, it opens with what looks like a new masked character sitting at a dinner table listening to music. And his meal, well, it seems to come alive. It's really disturbing.
Okay.
Then it cuts into distortions, this montage of weird imagery. Red liquid, a wine glass being filled in reverse, which then reveals a key.
A key?
Yeah. And hidden in the distortion are messages again. Lots of 2s and 3s, and the letter I appears a few times. The other video without the clock intro is Ascension. That one's set in the forest again, but it's covered in snow. The burlap sack is there, but instead of a clock, it opens on a computer screen.
A computer screen. That's very meta.
Totally. Could be a hint about the real world outside the series, blurring that line between the fiction and us watching it.
Blurring the lines seems to be a recurring theme.
Definitely. So, finally, let's talk about the creator. For the first year, nobody knew who was behind 2 out of 30. Total mystery. But with these recent uploads, a Patreon page showed up from someone calling themselves PPS.
PPS, okay.
And they are really staying in character. Only one image posted, very much in the vibe of the series. Their Patreon description says, "In exchange for your support, I'll open a door here for you."
Open a door. Wow.
Yeah. And they add, "There are several paths in which my 2 Art and 30 series may go. The scope of it all relies on you. Be the orchestra to my symphony."
Okay, that directly feeds into the alternate reality theories, right? Opening doors. And it perfectly reinforces those musical themes we talked about, the symphony, the orchestra.
Exactly.
But more than that, it changes the whole dynamic. The audience is invited to influence the direction. We become participants.
Yeah.
It's this unnerving kind of meta horror. Are you choosing to engage, or are you just playing a part in PPS's unsettling symphony?
So yeah, we've sort of explored this eerie, really complex world of 2 words, from the numbers obsession, the evolving story bits, to this intriguing PPS figure. We've seen how every little detail, the sack, the blinking face in the mirror, it all seems loaded with meaning, inviting us to solve this terrifying puzzle.
And the real brilliance, I think, is how it deliberately leaves us with more questions than answers. It forces you to engage, to speculate. It makes you feel the horror, not just watch it from a distance. That ambiguity is powerful.
Which brings us to this final, kind of chilling thought. If, as PPS says, the scope of it all relies on you, and you are the orchestra, how much control do we actually have? As viewers choosing to watch this, what doors might we be opening just by looking?
Makes you think.
It does. Well, that's all for today's exploration into the unsettling world of 2RD30. We really hope you enjoyed this deep dive with us, even if it was a bit creepy. If you did, please do us a favor. Like this video, share it with anyone else who loves a good internet mystery or a scare, and definitely subscribe to our channel, Tingy Horror Docs, for more deep dives into unsettling content like this.
Yeah, please do.
Until next time, stay curious.